White Council was formed in the year 2463 of the Third Age. It was a direct response to the Shadow, which in recent years had reappeared in Mirkwood. But as we know, Sauron eventually came back to Mordor in 2951 of the Third Age. So something obviously went wrong during the meetings of the council. Let me tell you what it was exactly. After 400 years of watchful peace, Sauron returned to Dol Guldur with even more power in 2460. This coincided with the discovery of the One Ring, which took place only 3 years later. Also in 2463, at the request of Galadriel, the first meeting of the White Council took place. We can certainly include Galadriel, Gandalf, Saruman, Elrond and Círdan. Apart from them, other elven origin sages were to sit on the council. But Tolkien didn't specify who exactly. In my opinion, we can certainly add Celeborn to the White Council, who was known for his vast knowledge. The second candidate would be Glorfindel, an incredibly powerful and courageous elf who for his sacrifice was brought back to life by the Valar themselves. It is worth mentioning Radagast Brown. Well, he's not Eldar, but we know he was working with the White Council, so he might as well have been a member of it. During the first meeting, White Council elected its leader and consulted on the question of the returning Shadow. Galadriel wanted Gandalf to lead the council, but he refused in his modesty, claiming that he didn't want to stay in one place. So the offer of leadership went to Saruman, who had just returned from the Far East. I must tell that it strangely coincided with the return of evil to Dol Guldur. Galadriel's suggestion angered Saruman. He didn't even assume that someone else could receive the position of leader. This, combined with the information that Gandalf is a bearer of one of the Elven Rings of Power, aroused jealousy towards the Grey Pilgrim. This feeling only grew stronger in the following years. The next meeting we know was held in 2851. It took place in Rivendell. As a context, I would add that in 2850, Gandalf again visited the fortress of Dol Guldur. He discovered then that the necromancer lurking there wasn't one of the Nazgul, as they so far suspected, but Sauron himself. The Lord of Darkness regained the last ring of dwarves and began to search for the remaining rings of power, including the One Ring. Gandalf returned to the White Council as fast as he could. He suggested that this was the best time to attack the enemy as he hadn't found the source of his power yet. Saruman, as the leader of the White Council, however, decided that it is better to wait out this period and claimed that the One Ring was lost in Anduin and probably already hit the sea. Most of the council agreed that the Sage of Orthanc was right, though his behavior seemed suspicious to them. In secret from the other members of the council, Saruman was already searching for the One Ring in the river Anduin. The White Wizard has studied the history of the Rings of Power for years. Saruman believed that Sauron would be helpful in finding the one. He claimed that the ring would appear before his lord when he would restore his power enough, and then the White Wizard would be able to capture it in full force. Next known meeting took place in the year 2941, the same year in which the quest for Erebor took place. In fact, it happened during the quest, most likely at the urgent request of Gandalf. The theme of the meeting was the growing power of Sauron. The Dark Lord, as it turned out, didn't need the One Ring to rebuild his power. Gandalf finally managed to convince the council to attack Dol Guldur immediately. Saruman agreed only now because at that time he had already seen Sauron as his rival in the race to find the ring. Saruman hoped to slow down Sauron's actions. However, after reaching and clearing Dol Guldur, the council discovered that the necromancer had already managed to move his headquarters to Mordor. In 2951, Sauron openly announced his return to Middle-earth. He sent 3 ring raids to prepare his troops in Dol Guldur, but he himself focused on rebuilding the Tower of Barad-dûr. The White Council met for the last time 2 years later, in 2953. The main topic of the debate were the Rings of Power. Saruman kept silencing the other members of the White Council by reassuring them about the One Ring. After the meeting, Saruman feared Gandalf and sent spies to watch every move of the Grey Pilgrim. Thanks to the new information, Saruman discovered the Shire and the hobbits living there. He also noticed the interest Gandalf had in them. From that moment on, he sent his agents to Shire and Bree. After the death of the steward of Gondor named Turgon, which also happened in 2953, Saruman took over the entire Isengard, strengthening its fortifications. He openly supported Rohan's opponents, effectively destabilizing the kingdom. The concerns of the other members of the council were confirmed. They tried their best to limit the scope of influence of the Lost Istar. The White Council has never met again since that time.